As you know, we have been doing this for about 2 years, and it's been exciting. It's been enlightening. It's been informative. And it's also, most importantly, the guests that we have had on have been giving us hope that we can stop the violence in America. We can stop the violence in our communities. But the only way to do that is to really listen to all of the wonderful and excellent and best practices that we have heard. And most importantly, how do we implement those, not only in select communities, but communities throughout the nation? And I think we can put a substantial dent in stopping the violence in America. Today, um, we have a special guest who is not a stranger to us. She was here not too long ago again, and name is Karen. Her name is Karen Rice. And just briefly, she's the author for The New Millennium, Creating Friendly Families Through the Power of Respect. Today, she had a very special, what we call a very special uh, uh, process, if you will. And it's called Rule One, the number one rule for raising kids. And I love this great word, Karen. Welcome again, harmony. And so that word, it seems like it's obsolete within this type of world that we're living in. But in reality, it is a reality. It can happen, and then how do we create that reality where that word can manifest itself and become not, it can become the norm. See, and so I'm really happy that we have her back on. She has sent me some additional information. Last time she was here, she was incredible, very warm. But what she shares with you, I believe that we all can resonate and with. And so without any further ado, Karen Rice, thank you for coming again. And we look forward to hearing, the additional information that you do have. Welcome again.
Thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here and part of this organization, because I've been an ambassador for peace for a number of years. So
yes. So we're happy to hear you. Happy to have you back. You mentioned being an ambassador for peace. It really fits you very well. And your whole premise and the concept that you live by and that you're teaching young people is indicative of the whole concept of being an ambassador of peace. So we want to thank you for coming on. Please share with us that additional information that you have sent me and in our part 2 or part 3 of our discussion. And I think our audience is really looking forward to hearing from you.
Okay, I'm going to do the 2 PowerPoints, but this is what I sent you is what is in the process of getting put together. The 2 the PowerPoints are made into videos, and so that will be part of what I'm going to share today is part of what I will share for everyone who wants to know about this. But there's also 2 other things in the works. One is someone who is going to be the first certified guardian of harmony. She is doing something with her 2 children, and they've already decided how it's going to go, and they're practicing it. They're going to make a video, so that will be an example of this in work. The other thing is a friend who is a ventriloquist, and he is thinking in terms of what he can do with, as an example. These are for examples. The other part for people that really want to get into this is to have a Zoom break into to couples, I guess, or pairs, and decide on an issue and come up with an example of how that could be resolved in a way that feels good to both of the people involved, or all of the people if there are more than just two involved, because that's the critical point, is that it feels good. It may not be the first thing that you thought of. It may be something very different, but it still feels good to you. You like it. It's satisfying. It's fulfilling. All the good things. It's that for you, and so that's why you say yes to it. And this is the strong emphasis I'm putting on this, because this is one of the things that people have the hardest time with. Adults have the hardest time with. Children, it's very easy for them. In fact, that makes me think that some of the examples that I have of children doing this might be a good thing to include in what I'm going to share with people. So.
Welcome. So is the PowerPoint ready?
Yes, it is. I need EJ to make me a co-host on my other device, if you don't mind, EJ.
Oh, okay. Great.
Sorry, I wasn't quite set up. And then, Karen, do you want to go to the PowerPoint then, right after that happens?
Yes.
Okay.
As well.
EJ?
Hi, what happened? I'm sorry.
No problem. Can you make my phone co-host too? Because I need to run the
Your
PowerPoint.
phone, where's your phone? Hold on. I'm sorry.
No problem. It's under my name. Sorry, guys.
Your phone, your phone.
Nadia Fisher.
Yeah,
And if you make me co-host. So both of mine are co-host, so I can do the PowerPoint and let people in.
okay.
Thank
Is it
you.
okay now?
Appreciate it. Yep.
Sorry about that.
You're fine. Thank you.
Everything is okay now?
Let me check. Sorry.
This is really wonderful material. The hardest thing in a family is to find agreement. There are so many ways we can struggle with each other, but to find agreement really helps to bring harmony. So I hope people can hear what Karen has to offer, because she really found something that's very precious.
You wouldn't put the power. No. Hold on.
Okay. Well, just like this webinar has been going on for about 2 years. I had one for about 2.5 years. I think we started similar similar times. Anyway, so that's what this one in particular is for. The other one also that comes next was created for that. So the first slide says, welcome to Karen Rice's Raising Happy Kids Zoom show. And this is the intro to creating peace and harmony with the one rule. Now, before we go on, I want to say something that I have learned recently, and that is that harmony is the foundation of peace. You make harmony and peace comes automatically. And the other thing that I've discovered is if you use the one rule, it creates peace. So that's why I am going full steam ahead to share this with everybody that I can. And hopefully they will adopt it into their lives. Okay, I'm ready. When I talk about raising happy kids or creating harmony with kids, I bring up the one rule. The one rule equals agreement. Agreement equals harmony. Using the one rule means you find agreement. That's the rule. You find a solution that everyone likes. You found agreement. You found harmony. Knowing and following the one rule is all you really need to create harmony between you and your kids. In any situation where there are differences that might lead to conflict between you and your kids, use the one rule. I learned this strategy from 3-year-old children. I was teaching them a complex conflict resolution strategy actually intended for adults. And they taught me this. So don't think you're in for a rough time. It's simple, it's easy, it's powerful and effective. It works if you use it. The one rule, start strong. You've decided that you really want harmony with your child. That sounds so good, right? Everyone feeling good and getting along. You've decided that you do not want to make your child do what they do not want to do. And you do not want to do what you do not want to do. And you are going to make this work. You have decided that you want to use the one rule to make this happen. This is going to become your new habit. You remember that when you use the one rule, you are sharing the following messages with your kids. I want us all to be happy. We are each important. Together we can solve our problems. I believe in you. I love you. To create this new habit, you're going to start with yourself and what you want. You decide that you are going to let how you feel about a situation determine whether you agree with it or not. If it feels good, then you can agree with it. If not, you cannot. Think about a situation. Ask yourself, is this situation okay with me just as it is? If yes, your work on that is done. If no, what would have to change, be different, so that I could feel good about it? Maybe several versions of this situation would feel fine with you. Maybe only one. This exercise, this practice, helps you make a habit of following the one rule. No matter what age your kids are, this exercise helps ensure a strong start and makes following the one rule so much easier. Here is an understanding that might make following the one rule even easier. Recently, I asked myself a question. What do I want people to feel when they're connecting with my work? I definitely want them to feel good about themselves. Then the following answer appeared, to my surprise and delight. I want people to realize that they are already using the one rule. That understanding surprised me, and as more and more of it was revealed to me, it delighted me. Of course, people are already using the one rule. I'm not teaching them anything they don't know. I'm not teaching them anything strange to them. I'm just helping them expand their use of something they use daily without thinking about it. They use it. You use it. Every time you come to a decision inside of yourself, you're using the one rule. Most likely, you had to consider several options or possibilities to reach that decision, like what you're going to have for breakfast or what you're going to wear, even if it just took you a few seconds for you to agree with yourself. That is what I want. That is what I'll do. You also use the one rule whenever you agree with someone else. Together you come to a decision, an agreement. Yes, tomorrow I'll go to the auto parts store before I go grocery shopping. Even with your kids, you're using the one rule. You are coming to agreements. Think about it. Of course you are. You're just not thinking of it as a rule, as something required. So at times you are not coming to agreement. I'm here to help you think of coming to agreement as required, as a rule, as the one rule. You just expand the situations where you come to agreement until coming to agreement is just what you do and your kids do. It is the rule you and your kids follow. When you use the one rule, you are creating harmony. Your kids are creating harmony. You are becoming used to creating harmony, familiar with how good it feels to everyone involved. At one point to be clear on is that even if a situation seems complicated and it seems that it is impossible to find a solution that everyone involved can feel good about, it is still possible. An important thing to remember is that there is a way for things to work so that everyone involved gets to feel good. Keep that in mind. This has been my experience whenever I have made this effort. A clear, helpful way to introduce using the one rule to your kids actually originates from the first time the children introduced me to what is now the one rule. You can do what I did. So they could understand what we were doing, I told the two little girls 3 things. 1, you are each important. Point to each person involved. You are important and you are important. And if it is your problem too, I am important. 2, you or we Each deserve to feel good. 3, we can use the one rule to find a solution that feels good to each of you or each of us. Then tell them what the one rule is. When you actually start working with your kids using the one rule, helping them follow their interests is one of the easiest ways for you to start. That makes sense, right? It's also one of the most beneficial things you can do for your kids. Why is it good for your kids to do what interests them? One primary reason is that their interest is a key to helping them become the best versions of themselves that they can become. When we do what interests us, we are very engaged and focused. Think about doing something that interests you. When we are engaged and focused, what we do and produce tends to be of much better quality than if we were not interested. Interest helps result in excellence. An even more important result of being engaged and focused is that our whole being is involved in what interests us. That is why we are engaged and focused. We are experiencing harmony, inner harmony. That is a good reason to allow and encourage our kids to do what they're interested in doing. I have observed children doing what really interests them, and they become peaceful, harmonious people, even if they were not before. It doesn't mean that everything that interests our kids is going to always interest them. They may be interested for their lifetime, or even 10 years, or only 10 days or 10 minutes. The point is that they are following their interests, not the specific thing or experience that interests them, or the length of time it interests them. So if they ask for your help, please help your kids follow their interests. If for any reason you really do not want to do what they are asking you to do, that is a perfect time to use the one rule. Another reason for helping your kids follow their interests is one that is taking care of you too. When they are eager to do something, instead of resisting doing it, you do not have to encourage them to do it or insist that they do it, let alone force them to do it. Think of how much of your time and energy could be available for you to use as you wish. Helping them follow their interests is actually the one rule in action, taking care of you and your kids. I'm glad you are here. So you could do the next.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah. I was just thinking that just as you have so many people that have presented here, I have so many PowerPoints. So, and both of these are from that show. So,
You know, one of the things that was key or operative word for me, of course, an agreement, but how do you make yourself feel good? And I thought about it's the reverse of, you know, people, addicts, people who are taking drugs. What stimulates them or cause the addiction is, if you will, the abuse of the dopamines, the constant inundation of the dopamine through this false sense of pleasure. But this other pleasure that you're talking about, by doing good things toward your fellow man, toward your family members, it triggers also the dopamines as well.
Right.
But also, I think the key word is habit.
Mm.
A habit, it becomes habitual, then becomes natural, becomes first nature, and we're not in a habit of doing that. So that word struck me because you used it early on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Right. That this will become your new habit.
A new habit, yeah, which is very nice. Anybody, I know we're waiting for the next one to come on.
Oh,
here it is.
okay. Okay. The one rule keeps peace in the family for you. When I started working on today's slideshow, I thought I understood certain things. But as I worked, more was revealed. Recently, there have been questions and concerns that using the one rule might not work. I understand where these concerns come from. After all, it is such a different approach than parents are in charge. Not only that, it is so simple. How can something that simple work? It just couldn't be that simple. And since it is so simple, it must not really work. It's got to fail. It doesn't make sense. Although I really want everyone to adopt the one rule when relating to kids from birth onward, by just adding it to whatever way they parent now, I do understand the concerns, and I am going to do my best to address them today. When I was first introduced by 3-year-old children to what I now call the one rule, I told them to help them understand what I wanted to help them do, that they were each important. Then I pointed to each of them and said, you are important and you are important. They could agree with that. One little girl's awareness expanded to realize that they were both important. I saw it as her eyes lit up. I now realize that her eyes may have lit up because she thought of a solution. However, before thinking of the solution, she had to accept that the solution had to be something that they both liked. Until now, I've believed that her eyes lit up because she expanded her thinking to accept that both of them were important. Of course, that may be true. However, it is only now that I've come to realize that whether that is true or not, by following what is now known as the one rule, she found a peaceful, harmonious solution, a solution that was enjoyable for both of them. That is true for anyone who uses the one rule. There may be more than one peaceful solution, but it has been my experience working with kids that there is always at least one agreeable solution. No one has to believe that they are important or that the other person is important. But when a solution is discovered that all involved truly like, so they can agree to it, they are acting in peace. They are peace in action. This is built into the one rule. Even if people's awareness does not expand to include the importance of the other person, as long as they are following the rule, they find a solution that they both like, or they all like, and they agree to use that solution. The result is peace. They also get to feel good about themselves and their life. They're happy with the solution. It may not be the solution they originally thought of, but they like it anyway. That is why they agreed to it. Think about how you feel when things are going a way you want them to go. You feel good, right? Another thing I mentioned to those first two little girls was that they both deserve to have what they want, and that we were going to figure out how to do this. This is the main thing that people have trouble with. This is why people have trouble believing that the one rule works. They want something and someone else wants the same thing. Like the little girls both wanted to swing on the same swing, the only swing available. Whatever the situation, it seems that there is no way that both people could have what they want. They think that they have to give up on what they want or the other person does. That is the most common outcome. That is what people are used to. It's hard to realize that there is a peaceful solution. It's hard to accept a possibility that seems so uncommon. I just realized that when I promised, I vowed to never force my children to do what they did not want to do. I put myself in the perfect position to be open to peaceful answers. Peaceful solutions require that everyone involved agrees. This does not mean that they just say they agree, but that they fully, truly agree, because that solution is something that they like. So I have been using the one rule for at least 38 years. For most of those years, it was called the power of respect. And there were 108 respect tools, skills, and strategies I used to make it work. That's why I know I've found a true solution, mighty enough to stand on its own. One rule. In case some of you don't know, the one rule came into being one night when I wondered if people would actually have to learn the 108 tools, skills, and strategies I'd use to create respectful relationships with the kids in my life. That night I asked myself, of the 108, what is the least that people need to know to be able to raise happy kids? The one rule was my answer. And that one rule is powerful enough to create peace between parents and kids, and powerful enough to be your fail-safe in your intention to raise happy kids. The one rule is peace in action. Here are a couple of examples of how the one rule can ensure happy kids and peace between adults and kids. My youngest daughter and my 6-year-old grandson were visiting. The one rule had just taken on its name. As I was explaining the process to them, my daughter used the word agreement to explain the process in one word. I liked it. I use it. It seems appropriate that the one rule has a one-word description. My grandson liked to watch TV and YouTube video cartoons. My daughter did not really want him to do that, especially as much as he wanted to. One time when he asked me to set up my laptop for him, I told him that I felt uncomfortable doing this because his mom did not feel good about it. I wanted to work this out with her too. He thought about this briefly and suggested that he and I play cards. So we did. We had fun. So here, all people involved were honored. Peace was maintained. Everyone felt cared about. Another example is from someone I coached on the one rule. One issue she had was feeling uncomfortable, always buying her 5-year-old daughter things every time they went to the store, especially when her daughter was not behaving in ways she liked. She came up with an idea that they all liked. She made a chart of behavior that she liked. Her daughter could earn money for those behaviors and buy her own things. Her daughter liked earning money, and the parents liked the behavior. Here again, all people involved were honored. Peace was maintained, and everyone felt cared about. So I hope you'll join me in the movement to help kids grow up happy and in peace. Use the one rule. Become an affiliate or a partner. Earn 50% commission. Share this with many, many more. The affiliate and partner program are part of the Happy Kids business launch starting now. Join us. I am glad you are here.
Yes, thank you so much for that. I'd like to open up the floor for any statements that you'd like to make and some questions you'd like to share with Karen.
I'm
Any of the
sorry, I can't raise my hand, but I've been chomping at the bit here this whole time. I was at a family gathering and it was, if you don't mind.
Please.
Thank you. And there were neighbors that were close by and the kids wanted to play with each other. Well, these kids in our family, we don't allow the kids to swear. And I mean, these are all ages of kids. And these kids were just, oh my goodness, it was just cringe because they were all just foul mouth. It was crazy, crazy. And I'm just like, how could I really wanted to say something, but I didn't feel like I could. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I mean, since you didn't feel you could,
Right.
Right. Well, it's not working it out with other people. So it seems if I were in that situation, with thinking and feeling the way you did, I would try to come, if I really felt I couldn't deal with the other people on this, I would have to find some harmonious solution inside of me. I guess thinking thoughts that that would help me feel inner harmony, because that's critically important to me.
Okay. Well,
Um,
it never even occurred to me to maybe chat with the parents. Because they were over in the other yard, so I wasn't, I wasn't near them to even talk with them. But yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying, because now that I have this, I'm really going to be using it for sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Anyone
Well,
else?
well, in that situation, I wonder, could you speak to the children who were,
I don't know.
I feel uncomfortable
Yeah, really.
in the way that you're using words that make me feel very uncomfortable. And these are not things that I have my children use. Do you think if you could play together without using that language, you think you could say that? I don't know.
I think so, especially if I talked to my family before I did it. And, say, I'm very, very uncomfortable. Do you mind if I talk to the kids, like the neighbor kids, like this? Because people get pretty touchy about things.
If you point out that you want to find something that works for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
that everybody gets to feel good about things, it really it makes a difference. It helps.
Yeah.
Because nobody feels left out or blamed or any negative, harsh things coming toward them. So they know that well, they don't know because they haven't done it. But if you do it, then they will know that that you're just trying to find something that works for everybody.
Yeah, and that could be life-changing for the future too, for these kids with all the stuff that they're watching.
Yeah.
And interacting with. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. There's hope. I've been cringing about this for a couple months now since Easter.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I think again, it goes back to they do it out of a habit. And I think secondly, I don't hear anyone in the position of authority, either on television or on the street, a parent saying, it makes me cringe to hear that type of foul language constantly.
Yeah.
No one is correcting. It's almost become the norm.
Yes.
So it's almost maybe, you by saying something, and as Karen said, which I experienced, is that you first have to do an internal check.
Yeah.
Because the way you say things can just change, either trigger stuff off or, touch the people's, their original hearts, and then they'll listen. So nobody's saying it. There's not an alternative voice out there saying, no, this is not nice. It just doesn't sound right, constantly. So maybe it is worth just saying, look, can we find a happy medium? Does it sound nice to you to hear it all the time? Anything. Anyway, that's my take on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I've listened very carefully, and what I hear you saying, which has kind of evaporated throughout society, and it lends to what Nadia is saying. Everything's accepted now. Kids say and do. There's no adult supervision. There's no, they disrespect authority. And I think that stems from lack of value or lack of respect or lack of care. And I clearly hear you saying that you're coming to a place to offer value to the other person. And whatever we're going to do, maybe we can do it in a shared experience and in a way that we both can have a good experience. So I appreciate you saying that. And I appreciate your thought process of adding value to children, letting the children know that they have value. And I think that's something that has gotten pulled out of the core of families. With the content and context of everything that's going on in the world, so many family values have been just, family value has just been on the decline. And I think this is a way that we can start initiating it over again to let the kids know it don't have to be all yours, but if you learn to share. I got a 5-year-old granddaughter, and when she gets disturbed about things, she says, "That's not nice." She is there. That's not nice. So her family value can be a little different when she's going into other environments. But I thank God for the tools that my daughter have, that she's teaching and her children to be, respectful and to value others in that. But what I really wanted to share was, in April, you did a segment, and my husband and I were traveling. And I think I wanted to stop. He wanted to keep going. And we had this conversation. But at the end of the conversation, we came to a place of agreement. And I said to him, I said, "Do you know we just applied the one rule?" And we both laughed about it. So it is something that's applicable. And I think that's the key in receiving information, that you're able to apply it. That's when you're really obtaining knowledge. So I thank you so much for coming on again today. And as Nadia said, it's worth taking the time, making those observations, and figuring out how you can work together collectively. So again, I thank you for sharing.
Very nice.
Yeah. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Alexander. Always thank you. So incredible points that you made. Thank you so much. Anyone else like to
I think
share?
Daryl had his hand up.
Yeah, I can't see. Yeah. Hey, Dr. Reverend Daryl Alexander. Wait a minute,
Franklin.
Franklin. I'm confused.
Hey, y'all can call me Gerald. I'm okay with that, But I tell you, this is really good because I just wanted to ask you, is there some follow-up on some of the children who have benefited from this program, from where they started, to help them to be able to become better, I guess you can say, has it enhanced their social skills when they became older or adults? Has there been any follow-up documentation on these children?
Only my own.
Okay.
My own children and their friends, to some extent.
Because I can see how this could be a very good, effective curriculum in our public school systems, in the area of learning, I guess you can say, emotional skills that would help them socially. And I see this as being an additional skill set to help our children to be able to have real substantial mental, emotional abilities to be able to effectively deal with anger management.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we, there are a few people that have been interested in this whole process, and having a curriculum is one of the ideas that has come up. I've done some work on it. There is something, there is a way that I was going to talk with you about this, Leslie, because I would like to see this happening. Okay, there's a way that this can be presented to kids where, I mean, this is what the 3-year-olds were doing. The swing thing's just one example. There's anyway, and they can do it fast, but the idea for the curriculum, okay, for one thing, the adults, well, it's helpful if the adults model this behavior, but it's not essential. That's the thing. It's not essential. If kids, if there can be a lesson, I've written several stories about this. If there can be a lesson where the kids get to practice, here's a problem. Either they choose, everybody does the same one, or they choose their own, and they find these solutions. If they can practice this, it's also, I've thought of it as like a PTA fundraiser, because PTA is kind of like a backdoor way into the schools. And they do fundraising where the kids could put on a performance showing different scenarios and how they solved it in a way that everybody involved liked, harmonious way. And fundraiser, because if they put on a performance, whether it's virtual or physical, their family and neighbors and friends are going to want to see them do in this performance. So this is something I feel like this is going to be one of the most powerful ways to get this out to everybody, is to have the children or young people. It doesn't have to be, like 3 years old, or in fact, the preschool age probably would not work in terms of performance, but elementary school for sure, and older, could do this. It's not hard. It's just, it takes a different way of looking at things. Like for when I started, what I was saying, when I vowed to my children, I suddenly realized that that's what I was doing. I was like yelling at them to make them do what I wanted to do. And I one day the 3 of them were in the kitchen, and I could see on their face, like they were like cringing from, and I just stopped and never looked back. And it just went on better and better and better from there. So it's not hard, but it takes a mind shift to do it. Or
Yeah.
if you're not used to it. Otherwise,
You, Yeah, UPF has a whole course of character development, character education. And it seems like this could be tagged on to that.
That sounds
Yeah, we've been talking about how can we get character education into the schools. And there are two sisters who've been working on that for several years with the Family Education Empowerment Foundation. And this perhaps could go with them. But I know the UPF, character education is on the upf.org website. And perhaps some of your material could be put there as well. Yeah, that people could have access to it. Yeah.
great.
So, yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that. Anybody else? Thank you, Leslie. Thank you
Mhm.
for that pertinent question to Reverend Franklin.
Mhm.
Anyone else like to share or make some comments or to ask any questions to Karen in regards to this last presentation? I can't see everybody. Let me see.
Mary Helen Robles.
Right. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, Mary. Oh, okay.
Yes, I
Welcome.
hear something really, like almost a rule or a common denominator here in what you're sharing is that to come to an agreement, you said something that really struck me, and that's acknowledging that you're important. So each individual understands that they're important, and so their input or their coming to feeling good about the solution is important. And I can see where this would apply not just to children, but in marriages where there's conflict and people begin to feel they aren't important, what they think and what they do. So I think your emphasis on acknowledging to each child or each individual that they're important, and it's that we want to have a solution where you can feel good about what is being decided or the direction you're going to go. So I thought that was really special.
Mhm.
That I have come to know recently, that because we are each important, it is why the one rule came out of all of this.
Mhm.
That exactly thing that you pointed out. It's
People have to hear it that they're important.
and that's one thing about my is I really want them to grow up in harmony, peace, and feeling good. I mean, happy children. They just light everything up, and but they have to grow up, so it takes time. So it's
Yeah.
like finally I'm like, yes, this has got to be going. And so now I have one person who's going to be a guardian of harmony, and she'll be certified to teach this to other people. And so anyway, that's as far as I'm going right this second. So
Yeah, I think one of the things as we come to conclusion, finding in an agreement, you have to find a common denominator. And as we come to our close, have you discovered in those kind of conversations, where did they decide, okay, we have to find this common denominator, and then we can come into the agreement, and then we segue into, creating this harmonious, give and take or subsequent actions between us that we can just move forward. How easy do you think it is, or what process do you suggest to help them find that common denominator in order to come to some agreement?
Well, it certainly helps if you accept that it's a possibility. I'm going to tell you a real quick story. There were two little boys, maybe 3, 4 years old, maybe 5, and they both wanted the same trike. Now, and we were going through this process. And one of the little boys remembered that the other little boy had loved his teddy bear that he brought for show and tell. And so he said, okay, you can hold my teddy bear if I can go first. They both were delighted. Now so being open to the possibility, being open to accepting, yet there is a solution. We just have to find it. It's here. We just have to find it. Where is it? Looking for it instead of looking at the problem, looking for the solution, that helps. Both those things help. Being open and looking for it, they help.
Saying, especially with young kids, and I think for adults, we can help prompt them to search for the
Yeah,
amicable solution.
yeah. We can.
That sure was cute, a cute teddy bear story.
And it's so interesting. I gave only maybe 3 lessons in this, and all the children got it. I didn't give it to most of the children, but they all, I guess they just picked up on it somehow. And we just didn't have conflicts anymore. People, they just would find solutions.
Mindset.
Yeah.
It's like changing the mindset. You know, there is a possibility
Yeah.
to resolve.
Yeah. Exactly.
How about, but I think someone else. What is that? I saw someone's hand. Basal?
William Stoner.
Yeah, Stoner, and then someone else. Maybe she was waving goodbye. Go ahead, Reverend Stoner.
Karen, I'm very inspired about your bringing up the possibility of success and unity in the very beginning to lead people toward that conclusion as you're working things out. That's very hopeful. That's very wise. It's very spiritually mature. And I am not familiar with this process, and I can see how it probably more easily work with younger children. But the older they get, especially like in high school or college, I could see the possibility of so many other, I guess I shouldn't call them excuses, but reasons they might have for justifying their viewpoint. To what extent do you keep working toward a solution if there's an impasse or an unwillingness to accept the other person's viewpoint? Do you go on to a different situation, or do you just keep trying and trying and trying using different variables or different possibilities?
Well, I guess it would depend on the people involved, what they wanted or didn't want. Because, and I can see how people would want to stick up for their point of view. So the thing is that with this process, an openness to it has to exist. And in the children, it exists like automatically.
Sure,
That's why
sure.
I think it's our true nature. to do this.
Mm.
Now, with people that are not open, that's kind of like a step one. You've got to be open.
Mm.
And and so if we always just work where the opening is, there's going to be more and more openings. That's like what was happening with the children. I gave, I think, 3, maybe a little bit more actual lessons to individual children, or to, where there was a problem. And what did somebody say? Anyway, they got it. Everybody that didn't get the lesson got this switch in the mindset. So I think if we work where the openings are, that it's going to spread, because it feels so good. It's like, who doesn't, I realize, anyway, who doesn't want to feel good, right? Most people do. And it'll spread. I just know that. So.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you, Bill, for that question and that statement. Excuse me, is very true. Again, I want to thank you for coming to our close here. Thank you, Karen Rice, always, for coming on and sharing the avenue towards creating harmony, creating peace in reality. And I do, when you think about it, unless the kids, really have some deep-seated emotional problems, like you said, most kids, because it is, I believe, our original nature, and kids are, so untainted, and so tainted, the word I want to use, by experiences, life experiences, that sometimes allows us to hold on to what is not really necessary to hold on to. We just want to hold on to it. Then you can see the original nature comes out, because all kids want to seek harmony. And I think what causes even more of kids not willing is when the adults sometimes will play favoritism to one and not seek that let's find a comparable, type of solution and agreement, which all kids will come to that if you do it right, and not letting kids are sensitive too, letting one think that, the adult favors this more or that, so the adult plays a very critical role in this process as well. Again, you have any last words for us as we come to conclusion?
Yeah, something just came to mind. I would love to send my story of the one rule in schools, sort of. I'd love to send those stories to you, and maybe you could send them to, or I don't know, maybe they could be somewhere where people who are interested could take a look at them.
Yeah, I think we can discuss. I think there's a whole barrage of people here who are on the front line, and we can discuss how that can be,
okay,
something possible to do. But it's worth it. It makes sense. It's very simplistic. It's not complicated, right?
Oh, it's so simple. I let 3-year-old children demonstrated this to me.
Yeah.
So it's simple.
It's simple
and clear.
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you. Thank you again, Karen Rice, for coming on. Always Dr. Alexander Franklin, and also thank you, Leslie, for introducing us to this incredible person. God bless everyone. We look forward to seeing you next week. And Rice, we will stay in contact with you and move forward from there. Okay, God bless you, everyone.
Okay,
bless.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Peace and harmony.
Hi, John.
That's right.
My wife.
Peace.
Welcome.
You are
Thank
all
you,
important.
Nice to meet you, Karen.
Thank you so much. It was great.
Thank you, Karen.
This is it.
Good
You have to
program.
talk to the United Nations. They need to hear this.
Amazing.
Really?
We
That's
need,
right.
yeah, right, United Nations. How do you, how to
you.
reconcile
you.
North and
Thank you.
South? The open.
Very
Every
nice.
one of you. are
Jesus
magnificent.
said a little child will lead them, right?
Right.
That's
That is
right.
true.
That's
That
right.
is true.
The 3-year-olds.
Wonderful.
3-year-olds.
Yes, there's still some unwritten
Pure
pages
hearts,
in their
yeah.
life.
That's simple.
It's great.
Hmm.
Thanks.
Sure, God bless. Thank you for your
God bless.
comments.
Thank you, really.
Melissa, thank you so much.
Oliver.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Okay,
glad I
take
could be
care.
here.
Okay, Karen. Bye-bye.
That's
Thank you.
all right. Take care. Thank
See
you.
you next
Thank
time.
you.
Yeah. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, yes, coming up.
Yeah, yeah.
Tomorrow. Yes.